All right, let's talk Tinkercad. So in the classroom of the Google, you'll notice your 3D problem solving activity and your Tinkercad classroom code. With the Tinkercad classroom code, you just have to click on that, click join class with Tinkercad. And then if you've done it before, you just click that's me. If you haven't, you're going to click on the G for sign in with Google. Then you're in the class. To get to the part where you can create something, you're going to click on the Tinkercad logo. Then you can click on Create New Design. After you click on Create New Design, a couple things you need to know about the navigation. First, the little square will let you look around the work plane. You can also do that by right-clicking and holding it down, or using your finger on the screen. If you get it all messed up and you don't even know which way's up, you can always click the home button to go back to the beginning, the original view. You can zoom in by clicking the plus, you can click zoom out by looking at the minus, or you can pinch your screen and do the opposite to make it zoom out. You can also, if you have a mouse, scroll in, scroll out. To put something onto the work plane, you drag something from over here. This will give you a shape which you can adjust two ways. You can adjust it using the little boxes. The black little squares and the white little squares do different things, or you can adjust it by dragging the little scroll bars. To adjust the height, you can click height, or you can do the little middle square to go up and down for height. That's how you can do your width. To go up and down though, you don't just drag it up, because that just moves it back on the plane. To drag it up, there's this little triangle thing, you go up and down. But you have to be careful not to bring it below the bed. If I change my view here, this will break a 3D printer because it will try to get the printer to print below the bed. So it has to be sitting nicely on the work plane, which if you get all messed up, you can always go up and down and then click on the amount and click 0, and then it brings you right back to flat. To make a hole, you can just drag another object into the other object. So I drug this cylinder into this square, and then I can click hole. That makes it a hole. Then, to actually make the hole cut out, you can click and highlight, or Control A for all. And then you're going to click the little square merged with the circle to group, or Control G. Once you've done that, then it cuts out the hole. You can also ungroup by clicking the two separate shapes, so group and ungroup. You do have to have all shapes selected to do that. So that's where you have to highlight or Control A first. Now, one other really fun way to create a shape other than merging different shapes to create things like that, and then grouping them together will make a new shape. That is one way to create different shapes, but another is the scribble. The scribble is super fun, especially with a touch screen, because you can just use your finger to draw on the screen, and then click done, and it will 3D your object. So if I wanted to create a little bubble wand out of my initials here, I can drag over a box and I can adjust it to where this little stick is thinner. Let me get right there. Drag it right here. I'll change the view, make that a little longer, and then make sure it looks the way I want it to. I might drag that right there so it's a little cooler there. Okay. And once it's the way I want and I'm all good and I've looked all around it to make sure it looks solid on all angles, I'm going to highlight it and group it. To see what size it is, I'm going to drag over the ruler, then click on the object. So our constraints are 75 by 50 wide. So 75 long here. I'm going to push 75 and enter. That's going to make it a lot bigger. We can go up to 50 millimeters wide, But if I don't like it and that looks a little too wide, I can go less. So I might do 45 there. Once I have it, I'm going to make sure that the object I want printed is the only one on the page. So I'm going to highlight those and click the delete button. There's also a trash can right here. So if I highlight or click on the object and click the trash can, it'll delete it. If I accidentally wish I hadn't, the undo or Control Z button work. So I'm going to highlight those, delete it, and then I have my exactly right shaped bubble wand here. I'm going to double check the thickness, make sure it looks all good. Then I'm going to go to my assignment sheet, and there is a checklist I'm going to do. So I'm going to double check that it's the right size, 75 by 50, and it can be a max of 10 thick. My program, I have to use a CAD program, so that's Tinkercad, a computer-aided design, and I may not directly copy. I didn't, I created it myself. My design has to be a shape other than just a circle, because that's not the ultimate bubble wand. That's already been done. I understand that the color of filament is not guaranteed. I cannot include overhangs. No designs are floating in space. Nothing on the design is underneath the grid, and all parts are grouped together. Once I can answer yes in all of these, I'm going to use the snipping tool to take a picture of my product, and I'm going to paste it in the space below. To do that, I can go back to my Tinkercad, and I can simply go to the snipping tool by typing an S in the search bar of my computer. I can click New, and then basically I highlight the part I want to take a picture of. So if I click and drag, let go, then I can copy, I can edit, copy, or Control C, go back, Control V paste, and then I have my design. Now, a couple of fancy things you can do with Tinkercad. There are more than just basic shapes. There's all kinds, all the way up to dinosaur and skeleton. Now, just because something is in here, it doesn't mean that it will necessarily print. For example, these spectacles would make a really cool bubble wand, except for these are floating in space. So gravity would take over and it would not print. However, if I wanted to, I could adjust this and make it print right by turning it. So there are little arrows. If I zoom in, you can probably see them better. There are little arrows that turn it different ways. So if I click on this arrow, oops, if you lose it, click on the object. I can then turn this to a 90-degree angle, and now it's flat. But it still would not print because right now it is floating under the bed. So I would have to then bring it up and make sure that it is at 0 and exactly on the bed. So 0 right flush with the work plane. Now it would print because nothing is floating in space. So that is Tinkercad. Lots of fun to be had. Oh, I rhymed.